Hey everybody, Flip and Danny here, founders of the Freedom Real Estate Group family of companies, and welcome to another episode of our podcast, which is called
Freedom Through Passive Income.
Our Journey. Welcome to another episode, and this episode is, of course, our journey, our first multifamily deal. And again, if you didn't catch yesterday's live episode, it is birthday month. Mm-hmm. Way back when I did birthday, how boring is that? And then I started doing birthday week, which I thought that was fun. And then I'm like, wait, my birthday's at the very end of the month, one of the longest months of the year. I'm doing birthday month because I can. And so at the start of my birthday month, around the beginning of the month, they throw off fireworks for me.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh-huh. July 4th, right? Is that when they do it? It was
right around there. Actually, Canada does it the day before.
Oh, okay, okay. Wow,
Canada,
you are popular.
I'm big in Canada too. Yep. Mm-hmm. I don't know about Mexico, but I know Canada likes me. So, so anyway, so this is our journey, and this is so we started way back when we were on cruise ships.
Mm-hmm.
We told the whole journey.
And so sorry, birthday month. If you're not watching and you're listening only, for birthday, you probably heard this yesterday on yesterday's episode, but I just want to remind people who missed it that he's actually wearing a fun shirt today.
Yeah, because it used to be fun. Well, it is Fun Shirt Friday, but because it's birthday month, every day is Fun Shirt.
Every single day for the month of July, he's going to be on here wearing a fun shirt. You crazy.
Yeah.
And that some people have commented on these posts saying, I want to see your closet. The amount of shirts that he's been buying, I talked on a previous episode. I was like, our clothing budget
went up. Our clothing budget kind of went through the roof.
But now that you own them, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, I'm wearing them.
All right. Okay.
I don't just buy them and put them in the closet.
So anyways, we're back to our 12-part series.
So anyways, we talked about being on cruise ships and then going into art auction and then you did the insurance and mortgage industry, and then I got rid of art auction, and then we did. Somebody said, "Hey, you should do real estate," and so we did real estate and realtors, which that sucked, and then we did real estate investing, mortgage assignments, short sales, sub two reps, seller financing, wholesaling, and then we went into turnkey, and that's when we went turnkey real estate, and then we talked about building our renovations company, and then we talked about that was fun, so we built a property management company, and then because we had property management, then we also built our brokerage, which that was nothing, but then we built an acquisitions company, which is what we talked about yesterday.
Yes.
And so
prior to our lives.
Prior to our live episodes
on Wednesday.
A previous life, we built our acquisitions company. Feels like it. But anyway, and so now today we're going to talk about our first multifamily deal. And it's funny because it has to do with our acquisitions company that we just built.
Yes.
You want me to take this one, or you?
I'll tell some of it, and you can just jump in where maybe I forget some stuff. Yeah. So, if you've listened to some of our previous podcasts where we've talked about this first multifamily deal, it was a game changer for us, and it took us to where we are today, and we're going to be talking about that on tomorrow's episode, which is now.
Yep.
So our journey all the way up into where this was kind of the game changer that took us off into another land that we weren't even realizing that we would play in.
Yep.
Right? I always have these big dreams and these big goals and whatever, but this wasn't necessarily one of them that was on my radar. And so Flip is in charge of acquisitions, and he is approving things to be bought. And one of the things that he approved was 15 pack. Yep. Right? There's 12 single family and three duplexes. So it was a 15 pack. With this 15 pack, it was attached to a 56 unit apartment.
Correct.
And so they decided we'll wholesale the apartment complex and we'll buy the 15 pack. Well, the seller didn't want to sell them separately, even though we wanted to buy the 15 right now and then worry about wholesaling the 56 unit after the fact. And so because we had to do it together, then that means we had to find the end buyer for the 56 unit. The end buyer had to go through all the things that they needed to do for due diligence, lending, all of that stuff. And so we understood that was going to take a little bit of time. It happened to be, was this during COVID while we were wholesaling it, or was that pre-COVID?
Well, no, we got it in February, so it was the month before COVID hit.
Okay. So during
2020,
COVID.
sorry,
Yeah,
just 2020. Yeah.
During COVID is when the lending environment started to change, right?
Yeah.
So the buyer
Everything
wasn't.
changed.
Yeah, the buyer had to switch lenders, and we totally understood that. We were being patient, but I think it was 6 months that went by, and that came to the point where the buyer ultimately decided that, hey, I want to renegotiate this contract. If I'm going to go ahead and buy it, I'm going to renegotiate it. And we were getting, as we've talked about wholesaling, how you get paid in wholesaling is you get a fee for the contract, for the work that you did to put the property under contract to be able to wholesale it to somebody else. He wanted to negotiate all the way down to the purchase price that we negotiated with the buyer. And so we're like, no, like we didn't wait this long to buy the 15 properties. Like you've dragged us and dragged us and dragged us. And we didn't wait this long to buy these 15, only for you to say we're not going to make anything on the 56. And so there was other things going on in the companies at that point in time that was just, the whole thing just got really, really frustrating. So Flip gets a text from one of the guys in our acquisitions team explaining all of this.
Yeah.
And Flip tells me, and I was just like, screw it. We're going to buy it. Just tell him no, absolutely not. Cancel the contract. We're going to buy it because the seller was getting frustrated too. The seller was going to back out. We weren't going to make anything, and so we said we're just going to buy it, right? And so then you took the lead, and you made sure that everything was set up. We got new contract signed. We said we'll do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, and it sounds crazy too, but the thing is we talked about a turnkey company, right?
Yeah.
And so these 15 properties, typically when we get a package of properties, especially that many, 15 properties, 5 are good.
Yeah.
Right. And the other 10, and then there's another 5 that, and then there's 5 that, wow, we're going to get rid of those like right away. We're just going to dump them.
Yeah.
Right. All 15 of these properties fit all of our boxes. And they were 15 perfect properties that I needed them. I needed them now. I needed them in February of 2020 when we found them. I needed them then. And so, but because it took so long for the apartments, by the time that we get to this point where we're like, screw it, we're going to do it. The reason why we're at that point is because all 15 of those properties, because we haven't touched them yet, but we already had them pre-sold.
Yeah.
We had investors lined up for all 15 properties. So the second we closed on this deal, all it took was us to go into those properties, do a quick renovation, and sell them. And it was crazy. And so that's why we were just like, screw it, we're buying the apartments.
That's right. Because if we would have lost the apartments, we'd have lost the 15 deals.
Yep.
And we had been waiting for them, and inventory was tight at the time. And we kept on going, these 15 deals, they're just sitting there, and we can't close on them, even though we have the money to close on them. We had to wait. And so we didn't know exactly what we were going to do when we said we were going to buy the apartment complex. But ultimately, in 2 weeks, we did our due diligence, and we had hired inspectors, our project manager, and our rehab coordinator. They're all out there going through every single unit to do the best job that they could in that short amount of time to be able to say, hey, thumbs up, you are not buying a dud.
Yep.
So it was fast and furious. Put together that rehab budget. We partnered with Chris and Ariane, who guys, a lot of people hear us say that name a lot because we partnered with them on this apartment complex. That was important because this was new to us.
Yeah.
And so when you're doing something new, by golly, go find somebody who's done it before.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, especially on something that big. And we're always like investors first. The people, our private money lenders and the people who work with us, even our team, everybody comes before Flip and I. So we're like, we got to protect them. We got to protect us. So we partnered with Chris and Ariane. They looked at the deal and they actually said, hey, we'll buy it if you don't. And we're like, bam, let's get it.
Yep.
Okay, so we got it. And then we said, hey, why don't we just go ahead and just do it? Let's, this is just like doing 56 houses, right? Except they're smaller houses and they're all one location.
Anybody can do it. Yeah, anybody can do it.
And we had kind of made that decision literally before we closed because we actually brought in private money to be able to do it. And we said, hey, I think we've decided we're going to go ahead and keep this one. We're going to go renovate it. We think we can probably do this in 12 months, depending on how things goes.
Yep.
And so we had a private lender for each building. And we even had a private lender come out and walk the property with us. So we were really, really excited about it. And then after we closed, we realized, hey, this guy who was supervising the property, he gives us keys. None of them work. Turns out he's a drug dealer. Turns out there's a whole bunch of scams going on. The leases, some of them were written up by him and totally faked. People coming out of drug rehab, he would sell them drugs, sign them up on a lease, take their social security checks. I mean, it was a nightmare. And if you listen to our episodes, 56 Unit Horror Story Part 1 and Part 2, you're going to hear the horror story and then you're going to hear the numbers in Part 2. To really understand everything that happened. But it was just a freaking challenge times. It was just like everything that could have happened happened.
Yeah, I was just reliving it in my mind. I mean, like I remember when it closed because it was the biggest closing. Obviously, it was like 70 something doors in one day.
Yeah.
Or something.
Oh yeah, 74 because
70,
we were like
74 doors.
Broke a record today.
Yeah, 74 doors in one day. It was the most money that we closed on in one day.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone was happy. Everyone was, drinking champagne. Not really, but everyone was super excited. And then we got up the next morning
to start learning all of these crazy things.
Yeah, and it's just like it was. And after a couple of days of learning more and more about this property, it got to a point where like, you're kidding, right?
Yeah.
Because that seriously cannot be true.
Yeah.
You can no, I don't. At this point I don't believe you. But it still was, and it was just oh my gosh, and just oh my gosh.
Just because we can't tell it, we don't have time to tell those stories.
Yeah.
But our renovation contractor that went out there, Mike was in charge of all the apartments. He carried a gun to that site every single day. Yeah. If that tells you like what was going on in that complex.
Yeah.
It was just crazy. But this is something that you would never have known because you couldn't see it from the outside unless you were there at night.
And they walked the property.
Yeah,
they walked
exactly.
Every single unit.
And a block away is this beautiful 200-unit complex that's fairly new and gorgeous. And even the police said, you'll hear it in the episode, that if just go back and watch it.
Yeah.
Even the police said, there's no problems over there. But one block here, it was that property. And so learning that and the challenges that we went through, it was just okay. So let's hit the pros because this speaks kind of to the pros. Go ahead.
Yeah. So number one pro, we were thrown in the fire, so we didn't have time to be scared. We didn't have time to be, you don't know what you don't know. Like I said, we didn't have time for analysis paralysis. It was grab them and go.
Yes. And we're actually very, very good at that.
Yep.
You throw us into the fire, we will figure our way out to the top.
Yep.
No matter what, we'll do whatever it takes.
We might get a little scorched here and there, but we'll still get out.
That's right. So that is one of, I would say, if we're going to say a strength, I think that's our strength. Because a lot of other people who would have been thrown in there would have walked away once they realized what was going on there. Another pro was, to me, the lessons learned. Mm-hmm. So buying a 56 unit and having it be probably the most challenging property we'll ever do in our entire lifetime, and having it be the number one deal that we did, like that's huge. It's only up from here.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
I'm so excited that we powered through. It
seriously can't get any lower than that.
Yeah. So I really feel blessed and excited that was our first property, and that now I'm just like, this is a piece of cake.
Yeah.
All right, let's buy that one.
Yeah. And it really showed how strong the team was. It showed the grit.
Yeah.
It showed everybody's grit.
Yes, and how strong our private money lender relationships were, because this was our first 56 unit, right? Mm-hmm. And I mentioned one of them came down just to walk the property and take a look at it, make sure that we were making a good decision, because they had been with us for a long time with single family and small multifamily, but now we were saying, hey, you guys have been with us for two years. We would like to invite you to be a private money lender on this. This is what we're going to pay you. This is how long we think it's going to do. It's 56 units, still right here in our backyard. We're still doing the same thing. It's just 56 doors in one place.
Yep.
And so they trusted us, and that. I'm glad that they trusted us, because we deserve to be trusted, because no matter what happens, we will figure it out.
Yep.
And it was just really, really, it was a tall tale sign of how strong those relationships are, because they went along the ride with us, and it was a good ride for everybody.
Oh, and they're making some good money on it.
That we've already cashed them out. They've made some really good money on that property.
And then another pro is definitely our inner circle, our partners, because we would not have been able to do it.
Without Chris and Ariane, we wouldn't have jumped into this deal. So that was exciting. And another pro is we're actually going through the refinance.
Yep.
So I didn't write that down, but we are literally signing all the paperwork and going through we had to approve a bunch of stuff, send in some final stuff, just like yesterday. So here we are doing this Our Journey episode, and we're right in the middle of getting this all refinanced. Even though we've cashed out our private money lenders, we're in the middle of refinance, and I'm super excited to see how that goes.
Yeah. And then, so now our cons.
Trial and error. Like we literally had to learn as we go, and that is a scary position to be in when you don't know what's going to happen next, and the continual break-ins, and the fact that we didn't know where they were breaking in from, and we're putting alarms and they're getting stolen, and it didn't even go off, and we couldn't figure it out.
They were getting past the alarms. They're like, and that's number two, relentless thugs. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you get in?
You
like,
never
monkeys?
even realize how smart they are.
Yeah.
Like, but they'll do anything to get what they need to get, right?
Yeah.
They're addicts.
I went through the attic of the stairway over.
Yeah. And the last comment I put is just that it happened during COVID.
Yeah.
And we had eviction issues. So something that was already challenging became that much more challenging.
It was like the
because
perfect storm
of the environment that we were in. Yeah. So anyways, go back and listen to the episodes where we'll tell you a lot more about those stories. But let's go through our 5. Risk tolerance.
Sorry. Yeah. Next.
Yeah. You have to have high risk tolerance for that.
The highest.
Yeah. Okay.
That was the highest.
Okay. Time availability.
That was the highest. I mean, well, not only for us, but the police as well.
Truth. Knowledge.
Well, you don't know what you don't know, and we didn't know what we were getting into. So we're going to call that one some street knowledge.
Yes.
Because we learned the hard way.
Yeah, and at least we had the experience of doing this in a different environment, right? Single family, it literally was just do this 56 times in one place.
Right.
So we had the basic foundation, but we didn't know how to deal with a complex full of that many challenges.
Yep.
So we had to learn as we go. Inner circle.
Well, you talked about it, our partners.
Yep.
So definitely needed that.
Access to capital.
Ooh, yeah, we needed that. Not only to buy it, but then also to renovate it. Because we had to renovate. Let's see, it was a 56 unit, right? So let me see, how many units did we have to renovate? Oh yeah, 56.
Yes, we did.
Well, actually more than 56, because I think we did 1 or 2 more than once.
Yeah, because they broke in.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that's a quick recap of the 56 unit that really changed the course of where we have gone and where we've landed here today. So tomorrow we're going to do our final episode of this 12-part series, episode 12, that's going to really talk about where we are right now and what we're doing and the fantastic opportunities that we now have and we are passing on to our investors. We're super excited about it. So hope you enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. So make sure you're heading on over to our website, freedomcapitalinvestments.com, and join our investor club if you're still listening. Are you still there? I'm just kidding.
These are longer than usual.
I know. But make sure you're hitting the like button, and you're hitting the like button because
this has been a fun journey, and I'm excited to tell the final episode tomorrow.
Yes, me too. But again, make sure you're hitting the subscribe button and all those things, the bells and whistles. But we like to end all of our episodes with
Invest Smart.
Live Happy.
Bye everybody.
Nothing on this show should be considered specific, personal, or professional advice. Please consult an appropriate tax, legal, real estate, financial, or business professional for individualized advice. Opinions and information on this show are not guaranteed. All investment strategies have the potential for profit or loss.